Last night, the Detroit Pistons played the best defensive quarter I've seen from any team all season. A 30-3 run at one point in the third quarter last night in a playoff game against a team that had already beat them in game one, and they were also tied at 46 at halftime. It wasn't just a hot shooting stretch, it was their defense which helped anchor this game. And the Orlando Magic didn't just miss shots, they stopped getting shots as well. And that one quarter tells you a lot about this series, honestly, and just a lot about these playoffs. But to understand the third quarter of game two, let's go back to game one, where we mentioned Orlando Magic, of course, won that game coming off a huge play-in win where I thought they had played the best half of basketball that I had seen from them in the first half of that last play-in game, and they played great, fantastic basketball against the Detroit Pistons in game one, and frankly made a lot of people, including myself, kind of question where the series was and the level of talent between both of these teams. So, of course, a lot of momentum coming off of the play-in, a lot of pressure to win both of those games, beat the number one seed, 60-win team. Heard some podcasts talking about the We Believe Warriors and making that sort of comparison, but let's not jump ahead too much. The Magic never trailed in game one either. They opened with an 18-5 run, and the Pistons started out going 1 for 6 and had 4 early turnovers. Overall, Magic had very balanced scoring, all 5 starters in double figures, scoring between 18 to 23 points, had a lot of interior dominance, which controlled and dictated the game, and was the big difference of what we saw with Detroit in Game 2. The Magic shot nearly 49% from the field, while the Pistons shot 40%. The assist numbers were 26 for the Magic versus 19 for the Pistons, who had 14 turnovers as well in this game. And points in the paint, as we mentioned, the Magic were a plus 20, 54 points in the paint versus 34, and we see a big shift with that in Game 2. Paul Banchero led the whole team in scoring 23 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 53% from the field. Franz Wagner, 19 points, 7 of 13 from the field, and had 11 points in the fourth quarter. Wendell Carter Jr., very yin and yang, game 1, game 2, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 8 of 9 from the field. Desmond Bane, 17 points, 5 assists, and Jalen Suggs, 16 points, 3 steals. Very balanced scoring between all 5 starters for Orlando. Overall, 54 points in the paint, and 62% of their made shots came within the 3-point range for Orlando. The Orlando Magic as a team had 11 steals and 6 blocks. Jalen Suggs had 3 of those steals and helped set the tone very early. Forced 14 turnovers for the Pistons to 19 assists. Paul Banchero had 23 points on just 15 shots. Franz Wagner had 19 points, including an elite fourth quarter, and that is why Orlando pretty much won game 1. On the other end, Cade Cunningham did in game 1 with 39 points on 13 of 27 from the field, 10 of 11 from the free throw line, and the next highest scorer on the team had 17 points. So incredible performance from Cade Cunningham, but no real scalable offense, something that we have gotten very used to seeing on this Detroit Pistons basketball team. Tobias Harris was 5 of 15 from the field, 14% from 3. Jalen Duren only attempted 4 field goal attempts, which didn't make any sense watching the game, just always just waiting and waiting and waiting the entire time to get something going on in the interior. And at the same time, Isaiah Stewart, who has been pretty consistent with minutes, 18 minutes this night, only had 2 shot attempts where he went 0 for 2. Minus 20 in the paint, as we mentioned, and the assist to turnover ratio was just very bad. Game 2 last night, it started out looking very similar. They're tied 46 at the half. Relatively low scoring, physical. That's to be expected. And it was more of Orlando style, I would say, in the first half. But something happened because coming out in the third quarter, Pistons win the third quarter 38-16. At one point was on a 30-3 run, and that pretty much sealed the game for them. We did see Cade Cunningham come back in with about 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and the lead did shrink a little bit, but never a big enough run to actually close the gap for Orlando. And game 2 was more of what was expected, at least from me, and expected in a typical 1-8 matchup. A lot of live ball turnovers turned into transition points for the Pistons. A lot of blocks turned into runouts. Just a lot of shot contest. I mean, Isaiah Stewart had a couple of very huge highlight plays, which will be in my memory for quite some time from this game. Orlando shot 40% of their shots from three, about the same, almost the same of game 1, but only had 34 of their points in the paint, while Detroit flipped and had 54 of their points in the paint, including 17 offensive rebounds. Certainly something we've gotten used to Detroit doing. Detroit got a lot of layups this game, while Orlando relied more on their jump shots. Rebounding was plus 15 for Detroit, 57-42. We mentioned the offensive rebounds and turnovers. Detroit had 22, but still won comfortably, which is, I think, a good sign for that team. Even when they have made mistakes, Orlando wasn't able to punish them in this game. Cade Cunningham ended this game 27 points, 11 assists, 6 rebounds, was the scorer in game 1, was a scorer and facilitator in game 2. I keep saying as we've gotten used to, but it's true. Asar Thompson was a defensive engine in this game, switched multiple positions, a lot of rotations and doubles in this game, looked very improved, I think, coming off of game 1. Jalen Duren had more front court presence and physicality, including Tobias Harris as well, just impacting rebounding control a lot better, interior scoring, and it's very fun to just see a series that is getting dictated by how teams are controlling their rebounds, their offensive rebounds, and their interior. Paul Banchero missed some big free throws down the stretch. 7 of 17 from the field. Jalen Suggs was high volume, low efficiency tonight. Wendell Carter Jr. was a minus 29, 1 of 6 from the field after going 8 of 9 from the field in game 1. Kind of resorted back to their isolation heavy offense and resulting in shots in the late clock for Orlando and just not having the paint control that they did in game 1, which is how they lost this game. So as I record this, all teams have played 2 games and 5 of the 8 series are now tied 1-1. Let's talk about one more series that is quite different from this Detroit-Orlando series, and that is Boston versus Philadelphia. So with or without Joel Embiid, because I don't know the timeline of that, I was not expecting this series to be that close. I was expecting that Philadelphia could make it interesting or competitive, but overall, Boston has just played a very good structured style of basketball, a very playoff style of basketball down the stretch. And with the inclusion of Jason Tatum, I think they are the most dangerous team in the East right now. In game one, it was as expected. For me, Boston won 123-91. They never had trailed that entire game, and it certainly looked like a structural mismatch for Philadelphia. And if they had Joel Embiid, I think that it closes the gap by quite a bit. So ideally, this was, yes, the ideal game for the Celtics in game one. 50% from the field, including 16 made threes. Sixers only shot 39% from the field, including 4 threes, so plus 12 in three-pointers, plus 36 points overall. Boston had 31 assists to just 8 turnovers, which we've talked expectations this video. That has been an expectation for Boston for sure. Philadelphia had 20 assists to 14 turnovers. Overall, Boston shot 61% true shooting percentage, 126 offensive rating, while Philadelphia only had a 45% true shooting percentage and a 93 offensive rating. It was not a small gap, it was just a blowout. Overall, Boston was up 33 to 18 in the first quarter and was up 18 at halftime. Boston made a good amount of threes this game, but also shot 44 threes overall, and that didn't change in game two. They just didn't hit them in game two. Well, let's come back to that. 44 threes attempted, including players like Sam Hauser hitting some big shots, 31 assists, making everyone involved on the floor. Jason Tatum had a big night, almost triple-double, 25, 11, and 7, helped control Boston's pace, and not just on the scoring end as well for that pace. Jaylen Brown certainly helped attacking the rim, and Tyrese Maxey was held to having an efficient volume in this game. So game one wasn't close, and that was what I had expected. And I knew that if Philly were to lose game two, even though they'd be going back home, coming back 0-2 was going to be very, very difficult for them. Just having this mismatch at this point. But we know what happens in game two. Philadelphia won 111-97. Held Boston to 97 points. I want to say that I can't believe it, but I watched the game and I saw the way that Boston shot. It was kind of an identity flip for Philadelphia coming off of game one. Celtics won by 32 points, and they lost this game by 14. Sixers only made 4 threes in game one, may make 19 threes in game two, and the efficiency gap just completely flips. So in the first game series we talked about with Boston and the Magic, where their games are getting dictated in the paint and within the three-point line, this series has flipped in efficiency and shooting. Overall, Sixers shot 19 of 39 from three, 49%, while Boston attempted 53s, which was very frustrating to watch, and only made 13 overall, 26%. That is an 18-point gap just in three-pointers. And Why do you have to attempt 50 three-pointers if you're only going to shoot 26%? Just hate not seeing those adjustments in games like this. There's been some unexpected big performers. I wish we could talk about Scoot Henderson right now, but instead, let's talk about VJ Edgecombe. Of course, I'm sure, third runner up for Rookie of the Year. 30 points, 10 rebounds, elite efficiency from him. Just scored at all levels and just can't wait to see what he's going to turn into. While Tyrese Maxey took control of this game, 29 points, 9 assists, 1 turnover. Was very fun to see his response to that crowd, and he's just got to be the guy if Philly wants to have that chance. Philadelphia only had 7 turnovers. Boston only had 11 turnovers, which resulted in 16 points on the other end. But overall, 18 turnovers for this game. Just a very nice playoff style and playoff talent level game already in this first round. So, all very welcome. Andre Drummond off the bench, 10 points, 8 rebounds, setting some big screens. Paul George was efficient again, ended with 19 points for Philly. On the other end, Jaylen Brown had a nice night, had 36 points, but was a -9 in his plus minus. Jason Tatum, I think, was a little bit too passive in this game, but ended with 19 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists. Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, who have helped swing so many games for Boston, just could not hit their shots. Only 12 points combined between the two of them. And just could not contain Tyrese Maxey the way they did in game one. And VJ Edgecombe was a huge finisher for them. At one point, Boston was up 91-89, where we see Philadelphia go on an 11-0 run, get stops, and go out in transition. Maxey takes over. Boston has some big misses, and that's pretty much where the game ends. We can also mention, too, that Philadelphia had a 37-point second quarter in this game. So just overall, much, much better offense from Philadelphia this game. This game told us a lot. In game one, it showed us Boston's ceiling, but in game two, it showed us Boston's risk. I think their ceiling is much higher than their floor is lower. Does that make sense? I don't know. But this video is almost over. Overall, looking at game three, Philadelphia needs to try and keep Maxey in control and keep Edgecombe involved, while Boston needs to try and attack the rim more, adjust their coverages, and try to fix their three-point volume. Or just don't shoot as many three-pointers. That's always an option, guys. Come on. But this isn't about just control, it's also about math, and we know that both teams could win this battle, but of course, I would still give the edge to Boston going to Philadelphia now. So I hope you enjoyed this YouTube only video. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Have a great basketball week. I'll see you next time.